Good morning. Message download for today. Part of the introspective work that I'm currently working on is to appreciate the contrast. And what does that mean? It just means that I have to be more flexible with my perspective and the thoughts that are aligned and embedded in my head, because I can be very rigid in my thoughts. I can be very safe in what I know and what I feel and what I have adapted as my identity. You tend to have a bit of, I guess, trouble into trying to change it. There's resistance. And when there's resistance to the change of what you know is true, is said and done, you'll have frustration. So part of the work that I think will help us evolve and flow into life is to broaden our perspective, just to appreciate the difference in others, because we tend to place them in a box of what we would like for them to be. I find myself a lot in those situations because I am very rigid. I am very OCD-ish. And I'm having to adjust and make changes. We're having to, we, meaning my personalities and myself, we're having to adapt to a new way of living. Because in order to grow, it's like a pregnancy. Those that have birthed understand. The first phases are like, oh, the illusion state, It's like, oh, it's fantastic. Oh my God. And you're starting to foresee the future and of what you're going to be birthing, this new child. And then you go along the journey, the 6th month comes along and you're like, when will this be done? And then it starts to get heavy. It starts to get laborious. It starts to become a burden. And then there comes the light. And then there comes the birthing time. I feel that's where I am today. I'm birthing myself. I'm birthing a new self. But I've had to broaden my perspective, and I've had to appreciate the contrast in my life, in the things that surround me, in the people that surround me, in the events that surround me, in the acts of spontaneity that I have to open myself to be able to live in the today, in the moment, which is something I'm not used to. When you're a planner, you're a giver, you're a caretaker, you're a healer, you're the one that's always supposedly responsible. You're the caretaker of it all, or you've made yourself to be the caretaker of it all. It gets very draining, it gets exhausting, and that's the birthing stage. Sometimes you gotta allow to let that pain birth something new, because it is no longer going to stay within your body, within your life. You're giving life to something different. And then once that work is done, you are no longer going to be living in the thought, which is where I want to go. I want to know how to stop living in the thought and just appreciate the what is. What is in front of me? What is today? What can I do today? That's the hardest work. And it takes practice. It takes broadening my perspective and just my options, that it's not always just about me and my thoughts and what I want and what I see and what I need, because that's just still all part of the ego. And you have to continuously train your mind, train your thoughts to live differently, to live out of the thoughts that you've created and not out of the thoughts that are lingering, that are just capturing you as a prisoner. You know, we tend to make our own little cages, and thinking about what kind of cage am I making for myself? What kind of mental cage am I making for myself? So it's time to broaden the perspective with this new year, with this new day, and appreciate what's around in contrast to what I already know and what's my life. Be blessed.